And even already in that, we've squeezed in Premier Challenges all around the world. There's been a couple of mid-season showdowns in that weekend. This, of course, being the first, like the biggest event of the format. But even within that weekend, players are so keen to get into the format and get trying that we've already got some people quite high up the CP table.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, that you want to just jump in and get as many points as you can so far. And we're actually going to see Sekiam on the left-hand side of your screen right now. He's got the Zekrom plushie here. Got, obviously looking to make a splash here at the European Championships in 2016. And on the right now, we're actually going to see, there he is, Tobias Koschitzki of Germany. And both players will be getting ready to take this one into a win.
Yes, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be bringing out. What strategies are you hoping to see in this format, James?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to seeing... Well, we haven't seen Torkol yet.
No,
and Torkol is both a really strong play if you're using Torkol, but then it's also quite horrible to play against. There is almost an autopilot to it in some respects, and it takes a lot of counter-teaming. And it looks like some people have really tried to, and we've seen those teams on stream. We had the Rain team from Aaron Zheng, which rose to power because of the power of Torkol. But we just haven't seen it so far. And we haven't seen any Celesteela, so the big ones to watch just haven't been here yet. And that's really exciting, which means that we'll probably see more of them as we move further into the bracket and we get closer to the contention matches. But yeah, I'm excited to see how people are going to be using these already quite powerful and I don't want to say cemented archetypes because they're not. We're only a couple of weeks into the format, but the ones that people are actually looking out for.
I'm also excited to see Extreme Evo Boost. I'm not going to lie. Will
we see it though? So for guys, if you haven't experienced what Extreme Evo Boost is, it is the signature Z move of Eevee, and it boosts all of its stats by 2 stages. And what other move has had a similar effect? I think that's Geomancy, isn't it? So it's like Eevee getting a Geomancy boost with additional stats as well.
And learning Baton Pass.
It's beautiful. So you're going to see Sekiam on the left-hand side of your screen, also going by Miguel Martí de la Torre, and we have Tobias Koschitzki on your right-hand side of your screen there. So both players are now setting up. We'll be going into the match very, very soon. And Kay, I just can't wait. I really can't wait. We're only in round 3, and I feel like I'm about to explode.
You sound a little bit like you're about to explode, Jay.
Did you almost say that you look like I'm about to explode?
I would never say that. I would never say that, Jay.
Hey, she's only been here for one round and she's already insulting me.
Insulting my co-commentator.
Well, I mean, you've got to assert dominance somehow, and I do feel particularly under the thumb right now, so...
I apologise, Jay.
No, it's the JK combination.
JK combo, we're fine, we're friends.
Yeah, it's definitely a big one. So, guys, we are going to be able to jump in and tell you a little bit about the teams now. So we have for Miguel, we have Arcanine, Celesteela, Garchomp, Gigalith, Tapu Koko, and Gastrodon. And for Tobias Koschitzki, we're going to have Magnezone, Hariyama, Salamence, Politoed, Porygon 2, and Tapu Bulu.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, there are some Pokemon that have some old faces who might not have seen quite around as much, but are going to get a little bit of a fame boost, shall we say, because they've got new weather abilities. Gigalith is one of those. It now gets the Sandstream ability, allowing it to put up sand and also to boost its special defense, being a rock type.
It's true, that is true. And we have our first Celesteela here.
We do.
So Celesteela, obviously, is a very defensive Pokemon. It has the ability to win a lot of games purely by sitting there. It sets up a Leech Seed and gets behind a substitute and can grind out wins in that way. But it looks like Tobias has ways to beat it here. We've got the Magnezone, which has seen popularity because of its ability Magnet Pull. So Magnet Pull allows, forces any opposing Steel types to be trapped in. It's a really great ability, and this is why Magnezone is being used now, because it can get super effective electric type attacks off onto Celesteela and then trap it in. And if Tobias is running fire type attacks on his Salamence, then we could be seeing some big damage onto the Celesteela.
Yeah, and I think that means we're quite likely to see the Magnezone because it's going to be important in that Celesteela matchup.
Yep, and so guys, we are just about to jump into round 3 here at the European International Championships in London, the United Kingdom. I hope you're ready for some amazing battles.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Okay, let's do this. So, Kay, what do you think is going to be important for Miguel to bring to this match?
So I think it is going to be... I think he'll have seen the Politoed on the opposing team. So there's a potential for seeing Gastrodon. There's a potential for seeing Gastrodon there to join with those water types with its Storm Drain ability. He is going to have to be mindful of the Magnezone if he's brought Celesteela, but we've gone for some very... This is an aggressive start-up to this match, Jay.
Oh, yes, it is. So we see the Electric Surge coming out from Tapu Koko here. We're going to see the Intimidate from Salamence going to activate before Arcanine's Intimidate, so Salamence obviously going to be faster here. So we've got the Grassy Terrain, which is going to activate and override the Electric Terrain here. So lots of animations coming out, but good field positioning for Tobias here. We've got to see if the Tapu Koko is going to use that Dazzling Gleam on the first turn. A lot of Salamence might be running Choice Scarf to be able to avoid that, and so we could see some damage from Salamence, but maybe Tobias will want to retreat here, or protect if he's got it, and make sure that he doesn't take a big Dazzling Gleam.
Yeah, the Tapu Bulu also has to be a little bit wary of that Arcanine. Arcanine Arcanine and Tapu Bulu next to each other is probably the two most prominent mixed attackers of the format.
Yep.
So it could be a little bit unpredictable what we're about to see here.
Yeah, and so also the Grassy Terrain actually working in Arcanine's favour a little bit here as well, because you get the residual healing, but we are going to see the switch coming out from Salamence.
And we did see Politoed being brought into the action, and Drizzle is activating. Politoed, not a new face to the weather scene.
So we're going to see how Miguel is going to run this. It is the Dazzling Gleam there, so it's going to hit both Pokemon. Politoed takes that extremely well, and Tapu Bulu taking some reduced damage, and the Snarl coming out there, so trying to reduce the damage that Salamence would be able to do, but Politoed takes it instead, doesn't appreciate a special attack drop.
No, it's not going to affect it. It's not going to be as much of a deal as a drop the Salamence would have been. But I think Politoed was still not going to enjoy that special attack drop. We saw Horn Leech coming off there from Tapu Bulu onto Tapu Koko, getting a little bit of that health back that it took from the onslaught of spread moves there.
So that was a nice play from Tobias. Obviously, Tapu Koko wasn't about to launch probably wouldn't have been able to launch a electric type attack because it didn't want to just do residual damage to Tapu Bulu. It wanted to get some big damage off onto Salamence as well, because Salamence is a threat to Celesteela. So bringing in Politoed weakens the amount of fire type damage that Arcanine can do to Tapu Bulu, which means Tapu Bulu can get a big Horn Leech off onto Tapu Koko, taking it down to just under half HP. And that's some nice positioning there. It was a bit of a prediction from Tobias, because he could have easily eaten a lot of damage this turn, but it worked out in his favour.
Yeah, definitely. And now the players are going to be thinking about what to do next. Tapu Koko, it is often mixed. There's a chance it could have Discharge, since there is the Gastrodon on the team. But we'll have to see whether it's got the single target electric type move in there as well.
So we're going to see the switch out coming from Politoed there, and we're going to see Thunderbolt being launched into that Magnezone, which comes in and takes it very well. We're going to see the Horn Leech coming out here, and it's going to hit onto the Tapu Koko. Arcanine missed an attack. I'm not sure if that was an overheat or not, but it hit. It was targeting onto the Tapu Bulu. So that unfortunate there for Miguel. We're going to see the leftovers activating for Magnezone here, and it's also going to get residual healing from the Grassy Terrain as well. So yeah, Kate, we have no movement from Miguel's side of the field. Tapu Koko has taken a lot of damage here, and we've got Magnezone in, hopefully trying to catch that Celesteela if it was going to come in to sit in on the Politoed, especially wall Tapu Bulu as well. What do you think will happen for the next couple of turns?
So I think now could potentially be a good time. The Celesteela doesn't want switching because of the Magnezone, but at least the rain is up, so it wouldn't have to fear any opposing fire moves that the opposing team could have too much. I think Tobias is in a really good position so far. He's got a lot more health obviously than Tapu Koko has. We've got the Dazzling Gleam coming off from Tapu Koko, but it's not going to do a lot of damage. Wondering if he was trying to get a switch back to Salamence potentially to get another Intimidate off.
So we saw that the miss before was a Will-O-Wisp miss.
Will-O-Wisp.
So we see a Lumberry from Tapu Bulu there. It's going to get rid of the burn. And we're going to see the substitute as well. So Tapu Bulu on Tobias' side of the field now protected by that sub. We're going to see a Thunderbolt coming out from the Magnezone. It's going to do some large damage to the Arcanine, crocking its Citrus Berry, which is going to push it back up a little bit more. But yeah, a nice substitute there from Tobias, and a nice option to have the Lumberry there to protect it from any sort of Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, unusual. But yeah, definitely. The Will-O-Wisp, of course, reducing the attack damage of the Tapu Bulu, which it's going to care about a lot more than the burn chip damage, given it's in grassy terrain.
Yeah, so if you're Tobias at this point in time, do you want to get rid of Magnezone here? Do you want to bring Magnezone back so you can save it in case Celesteela's around? Or do you really want to keep it sitting in here and possibly taking some big damage from Arcanine?
I think it would be important here to protect the Magnezone. The Magnezone's real purpose in this game is Celesteela. And since Celesteela is not going to be coming out anytime that Magnezone is around, I think it'd be quite important to keep it protected.
So Arcanine obviously is intimidated at this point, so it looks like it's one of the bulkier sets. It's running a Citrus Berry, it has access to Will-O-Wisp and Snarl, so it could have one of the big fire-type attacks in Overheat or in Burn Up, which is a new attack. But we see the Protect coming out from Tapu Koko instead. And
this was...
That is Burn Up.
That is Burn Up.
Yeah. So Burn Up there is going to get rid of the substitute for Tapu Bulu.
Interesting mechanic. Arcanine is now Typeless. Burn Up, when a fire type uses it, it removes your fire type typing terminology. So Arcanine currently has no type, which is a brand new mechanic for this format.
Yep, so we're going to see the Leech Seed being set up from Tapu Bulu there, and we're going to see the Protect coming, obviously the Protect for Tapu Koko, and we've got the residual healing coming now from Grassy Terrain, so a slower paced game to what we've had for the last couple of rounds. Yeah,
it looked like it was going to be quite a fast game given how aggressive both leads were, but yeah, both players are keeping it cool. We've got all the residual healing occurring. We've had a Citrus Berry and a Lum Berry to slow things down a little bit more and keep the pace chill.
But I like the way that Tobias is playing his Tapu Bulu here. It's very defensive. So he's got lots of options for healing. He's got the Lumberry to protect him from status. So the things that would slow down Tapu Bulu are really mitigated by the fact that he's managed to keep his field up for a long time. He's managed to get a lot of his healing back. And Tapu Bulu is a very powerful Pokemon. It's one that you want to protect a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It can answer a lot of things in the format just by sheer power alone.
Yep, that's true, that is true. So Tapu Koko here is just kind of sitting around getting some residual healing. It needs to get some big damage off, but most of the Pokemon opposite it do not take much damage from its Thunderbolts. It's going to get some chip damage onto the Tapu Bulu here, not going to do too much, but does it pick up the Paralysis? Nope, not going to Paralysis there. And another Avoid from the Snarl here from Magnezone. So again, a special attack drop onto the Tapu Bulu, but it doesn't particularly care about that due to being a mostly physical attacker.
We've got absolutely minimal damage coming off Miguel's side there, but with the Tapu Koko finally goes down to Tapu Bulu.
So yeah, a very slow and methodic couple of turns here, and we're going to see the Flash Cannon coming out from Tobias' side of the field onto Arcanine, which does a fair amount of damage there, and we're going to see the healing coming back from Arcanine there. So Flash Cannon obviously is resisted by fire types, but it does significant damage, and this is the cool thing about Magnezone and why it's an interesting Pokemon for this format. Obviously, it does a lot of damage to Celesteela, but also does good damage to the Tapu Pokemon as well. So this is why trainers are looking to use it. We have the Grassy Terrain leaving the field, and obviously you saw a little bit of Leech Seed recovery for Tapu Bulu.
Interesting choice going for the Flash Cannon there. Why do you think he chose Flash Cannon?
Well, if we look at the team on Miguel's side of the field, he could be hitting that Gigalith for big damage if it comes in. But he also hits some other Pokemon on this seat, like Gastrodon. It hits kind of well. Actually, no, it doesn't really hit too much. I don't actually know why he chose it that much, actually, because for Garchomp, it's not. I mean, if you were using one of the electric type attacks and Garchomp came in, or if Gastrodon came in like here, you wouldn't actually be able to hit them. So maybe he just wanted to get a bit of chip damage off.
Yeah, and that does make it quite safe in a way. Potentially as well, he might have been double targeting into the Koko just in case.
Yeah, that's true. So we're actually going to see the Gastrodon coming in here. So Politoed will not be able to get any of its water type attacks off unless it has Surf or Surf, because all the attacks will be redirected into that Gastrodon slot. And so Gastrodon unfortunately does not get access to Earth Power in this generation. So Magnezone doesn't actually take too much from any Earth powers there, but we see instead the Politoed coming in, which is going to set up the Rain again, and will not take too much damage from any of the attacks that Gastrodon will be launching, and also lowers the power of Arcanine's fire.
It does. It protects the Tapu Bulu a little bit better from the Arcanine fire attacks, and we've got Garchomp switching into the place of Gastrodon here.
Nice.
And a Wisp.
So we're going to see the Will-O-Wisp coming out from Arcanine onto that Tapu Bulu, which is going to lower its attack stat. But we're also going to see the Leech Seed coming out here as well. So again, just keeping the recovery coming for the Tapu Bulu. Its attack damage is lowered, but the last two Pokemon on Miguel's side of the field are weak to grass type attacks. So if he manages to use Horn Leech, he gets additional recovery. Obviously, Burn will remove some HP each turn, but he also does super effective damage. And so having Politoed and Tapu Bulu in his arsenal still, Tobias is in quite a good position.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially since we know the Pokemon in the back for Miguel is Gastrodon. It doesn't want to go anywhere near Tapu Bulu, like, as you say, even with the burn damage. Yeah, I would say that Tobias is in a good position here.
Well, he does have to watch out for any sort of poison jab shenanigans coming out from Garchomp. So obviously Tapu Bulu will go down if it takes a poison jab from the high attack stat of Garchomp. And yeah, just got to make sure that Bulu is protected and can continue just to recover some HP and get these Pokemon into a position where some of Tobias' other attacks will be able to knock them out. Instead, we're actually going to see the switch out from Tapu Bulu here, going to lower the physical attack damage of both Arcanine and Garchomp there.
Yeah, and I do think that's a good play. We don't know if Arcanine has any physical attacks yet, but the Garchomp is certainly going to be a relevant play. Garchomp did go for the poison jab, but Salamence is not going to take too much damage. It's going to get the poison though. That's
going to be an issue for later on in the game. We are going to see the Snarl coming out from Arcanine, so a very good and safe choice there. So he managed to, from Miguel, he managed to make some really nice plays there, and we're going to see the Encore coming out onto the Arcanine there. So a nice and safe play there. So Salamence in this format is usually running more special attacking sets. So having the Snarl available on Arcanine is really important because obviously it lowers down Politoed's special attack and also Salamence's special attack. So as Garchomp used the poison jab to cover Tapu Bulu staying in, then the Snarl covers a switch in for Salamence.
Yeah, in previous formats, the poison might actually have been a bad thing because you wouldn't have been able to burn the Salamence potentially, but as you say, they're far more often special in this new metagame. So that's probably not too much of a consideration. The Snarl is going to be far more important than the Wisp would have been.
Yeah, and so now with, it depends on what item Salamence is running. We have not seen it actually launch an attack yet. No. So Garchomp may be able to outspeed this depending on how it's trained. So it's a bit of an interesting turn. If Salamence does not have Protect and is not carrying a Choice Scarf, then it will be outsped by Garchomp, but we'll have to see. Arcanine is going to leave the field, saving the Intimidate for later on in the game. Gastrodon is going to come in now.
Potentially hoping to soak up any of those water moves that might have been trying to come out from Politoed to finish off Arcanine. Poison Jab again going into Politoed. Ooh, and we have a Z Crystal coming out.
Oh, there we go. We see the Z Crystal coming out from Salamence. That is going to be the devastating Drake attack, which is an extremely, extremely powerful Dragon-type attack. And so, yeah, this is the cool thing about these Z moves, right? Z moves obviously are based upon the damage that you do from the choice move that you choose. So if it's a Draco Meteor, this devastating Drake will do so much damage, and you can see Garchomp just goes. Doesn't want to deal with this anymore. I am out of here. I just need a nap to get over what happened.
That trainer has just danced at me. He made a little set of jaws out of his hands. There's a massive flying dragon on the other side of the field. I'm done, guys.
I love the Z move dances. They're incredible. But this again is a bit of an issue now for Miguel. So he has to bring his Arcanine, which is heavily damaged. He gets the Intimidate off, but as we said, it looks like this Salamence is a special attacking type, and now is the fastest thing on the field. If he was using Draco Meteor from the Z Crystal, then he did not take the special attack drops either, so it's still at full power. It actually has a couple of special attack drops from the Snarls, but still going to be able to get some big damage off here. He needs to worry about the Gastrodon using an Ice Beam, but he needs to sort out a way to get rid of this Gastrodon before it just sits and wins the game.
Yeah, Arcanine at this point is not remotely a threat to him. The Gastrodon is the problem on the field at the moment.
Yeah, so we're actually going to see the Magnezone switching in here. So it will take reduced damage from the Arcanine's Fire-type attacks. And we're actually just going to see the Draco Meteor coming out from Tobias and landing onto that Arcanine, which is going to knock it out. And now Tobias has the option to switch out his Salamence and keep it around for later on in the game, unless it takes an Ice Beam now.
Of course, yeah, and when it switches back in, there we go.
So we're actually going to see the Scald coming out here. So it looks like Miguel was playing for longevity. So we're going to see the Leftovers recovery from Magnezone. He was hoping possibly to pick up a burn onto the Politoed, so to cut down the longevity of it hanging around. But now Tobias is free to switch out his Salamence, reset the stat drops on its special attack, and hopefully pick up some big damage against this Gastrodon to win.
And there's not much that Gastrodon could do at this point. Even if it does have the Ice Beam, which would be super effective against the Salamence, it's not a lot it can do to Magnezone. Even in the rain, as we just saw, didn't do a huge amount of damage to it with Scald. Politoed, I'm not sure what Gastrodon can do other than smile at Politoed.
Well, we've got the Flash Cannon coming out from Magnezone here, and both of the Pokemon on Tobias' side of the field do not take much damage from Gastrodon. Tapu Bulu in the back is extremely powerful. Unfortunately, I don't know. Oh, it's a Maranga Berry. We saw
Maranga.
So that is going to raise special defense there. So we can see that's a tactic that people used in 2015 to boost the special defense of Milotic as well. And we're going to see that Politoed here is going to eat a citrus berry. It takes a burn, unfortunately, from the Scald, but with Salamence and Tapu Bulu in the back, it's not looking good for Miguel.
It is not, no. Even with the burn in play, the longevity of this team is going to be too much for this little sea slug to handle.
No, but Gastrodon is very cute. It's got, I mean, with the Storm Drain ability, it is extremely useful to redirect powerful water type attacks. But with Tapu Bulu running rampant as it is, it's one of the most popular Pokemon in the format. Even out, I mean, obviously you have Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele as well. There's a lot of damage it can't do, and there is the encore, the Perish Song coming out from Tobias, another win condition that we saw from Lyosh Waterstoff, and with only Gastrodon on the field, Miguel has lost in 3 turns.
It's such a clean win condition as Perish Song, because once you know that you have, especially since he knows he has like so many Pokemon left, he can just pull out the Perish Song. He knows that he just has to sit tight and survive these few turns, which, as bulky as Gastrodon is, it also is doing very minimal damage back. Yeah, I think that was a good play. So
we have now burns on Tapu Bulu, Magnezone and Politoed. So a little bit about burn in this generation is it actually does less residual damage to the Pokemon that have been burnt than in previous generations. So it will take slightly longer for these Pokemon to be knocked out by the burn, but it's nice for Miguel. But we see the forfeit there from Miguel. He didn't get any more information from Tobias than he could. We saw the Perish Song from Politoed, so it looks like people want to have a slow weather setter in Politoed that counteracts popular Pokemon like Torkoal, but also provides them with a win condition on their own. If they get into a position where there are a couple of Pokemon up, and or like three or four Pokemon against 2, they know that they can get this Perish Song off, protect for 1 turn, get the switching in, and survive and win the game.
Yeah, and while I don't think he had to reveal that he had Perish Song on his Politoed, it was almost certainly the safe play. He probably could have survived and merrily taken out the Gastrodon slowly but surely, but potentially it would have led to him revealing other moves on his other Pokemon, and there's always the risk that that something critical hits everywhere. You never know. So I think revealing the Perish Song probably was the safe play from him.
Okay, so we're actually going to jump into game 2 now, and you can see on your screen again the teams for Miguel Martí de la Torre is Arcanine, Celesteela, Garchomp, Gigalith, Tapu Koko and Gastrodon, and for Tobias Koschitzki of Germany we're going to have Magnezone, Hariyama, Salamence, Politoed, Porygon 2 and Tapu Bulu. So, okay, if you're Miguel, how do you interact with the loss here? Do you change your top tick, or do you think about bringing Gigalith to try and set your own weather in? Do you see Celesteela coming out this time?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, we do sometimes see attack on Celesteela where they run Flamethrower, so there's always the chance that the Magnezone might not still might not be too much of an issue for it. I would like to see Gigalith in this matchup. That might just be because I'm delighted to actually see Gigalith, but also the rain did help last time, and having a way to get around that, especially so his Arcanine can do a bit more damage as well.
The issue is that. Same as with Gastrodon as well. We do see the Gigalith coming out from Miguel here, but the issue is that Tobias' team has a lot of ways to deal with Pokemon that are weak to grass types and Pokemon that are weak to water type. He's got the Politoed, he's got the Rain, he's got Tapu Bulu for doing big grass damage. And so Gastrodon is not a safe pick.
No.
It deals well with Salamence, but it's not a safe pick. And Gigalith has some great weather to deal with Politoed, but again, it's not a safe pick.
No.
So Miguel has a real uphill battle here against Tobias' team, which kind of seems like it's ready to take on these ground-type Pokemon and these rock-type Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, Gigalith not the safest pick in the world. There's the potential that the sand can try and reduce that extra longevity gain from grassy to rain. Perhaps he saw the Tapu Bulu coming straight out again. It does, of course, have to watch out. As physically bulky as Gigalith is, it still has to watch out for that Tapu Bulu and its incredibly strong grass attacks.
Well, and it's also a really nice lead here from Tobias again. Very clever read because Salamence covers the Garchomp lead. So the Poison Jab on Garchomp is under threat from taking a big devastating Drake or any sort of Dragon-type attack from Salamence, and Tapu Bulu matches up so nicely against Gigalith. So Garchomp, not safe. Gigalith, not safe. So we do see the switch coming out from Garchomp here. What's it going to be? It is going to be Celesteela.
It is Celesteela. Celesteela is making her first appearance on screen today.
such a big Pokemon, so large. Those heavy slams do so much damage, and we're going to see a switch out from with Politoed here. So a nice switch from Miguel here. So if we see a Dragon type attack, obviously that is resisted by Celesteela. Nice switch from Tobias. Tobias gonna substitute.
Substitute Salamence. I like it.
That's nice. So we saw that Salamence now does not carry any choice items. We see a heavy slam coming out from Politoed, so the switch out from Tapu Bulu was really nice, doesn't take large damage from Gigalith. Now Tobias has Rain in his favour, he also has Salamence behind a substitute. The only issue is that his fire type damage onto Celesteela will be lacking.
I still think that was a very good turn from Tobias. Even in that one switch from Politoed, he managed to cancel out the weather. He got into the threat against Gigalith, and he was able to resist that heavy slam so well. So I think that was a very good switch on his part.
But a nice adjustment from Miguel here as well, understanding that he needs to find ways to deal with Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu obviously does not like taking steel type attack damage, so having Celesteela and Gigalith available to use heavy slam work well in his favour, but he's in a dangerous position as well because Tobias's team matches up so well against those ground and rock types. So Celesteela's nice, but he needs to protect it well.
He does, and he is doing. He switched it straight out and brought Garchomp in.
So Garchomp there. We're going to actually see the Flamethrower coming out here onto the Garchomp slot, not onto the Gigalith slot. So
Gigalith.
We're actually going to see maybe a prediction there, hoping to catch something in on the switch. But we're actually going to see a Scald coming out from Politoed onto the Gigalith slot as well. So it's no longer under Sandstorm. So we're not going to see, which you can see a Rock Slide here as well. So Rock Slide is going to miss on the Politoed. It's going to do some damage to the Salamence. Will it break the Substitute? It does. So Substitute is now going to leave the field. So the issue for Gigalith is not under its own weather condition.
Yes.
So its special defense is not boosted by the Sandstorm. So that Scald did a lot of damage. He's very lucky he didn't get the burn there, otherwise Gigalith would have been dead weight. At the moment, because it's acting last, it doesn't have as much weight as some of the other Pokemon on Tobias' side of the field. Salamence is in a very, very powerful position. It is slower than Garchomp at the moment. We've revealed that it's not carrying a faster item, so he's going to need to protect it. But Politoed can launch Ice Beams in towards Garchomp. It can deal damage to Gigalith. So we got to see if there's going to be something like a Z move coming out from Garchomp to deal with this Politoed.
Yeah, the Politoed's in power here.
Yeah, so Politoed is a really nice choice. Salamence can either protect, substitute, or switch to save it for later on in the game to deal with that Celesteela. Hopefully Tobias brought Magnezone in the back again, so he can trap in Celesteela when he needs to and just deal with it.
Oh, we've got Garchomp running straight out again. It's a revolving door of Pokemon, and we see Celesteela coming back in.
So just a lot of positioning here from Miguel. He's trying to put the field into his advantage as much as possible. We're going to see the Arcanine coming in here and launching an Intimidate towards Salamence and to Politoed.
Potentially hoping to save his weather so he could set Soundstream up back later on. He does not like the rain being up.
No, but we're actually going to see the Z move coming out here as well. So we're going to see another Dragon type Z move. It will be another Devastating Drake. You imagine that it will be off Dracometeor as well, and hopefully trying to catch this Garchomp still there. But Celesteela will be able to take it if it is being launched that way. So let's have a look where it's going to target. It's going to launch up into the air. This is such a cool animation, and it is going to go into that Celesteela. And look how well it takes it. That is an extremely bulky Pokemon. And
that is key as well, because of course you can only use one Z-move per game, and that has just been used against the Celesteela, taking it down to about 2/3, 3/4 of its HP there. It probably could have been put to better use elsewhere in the game, but if he had caught Garchomp with it, he would have been in a strong position.
Exactly, and even now we can see that the amount of damage that Politoed is doing in the rain with Scald. 3 of Miguel's Pokemon in the back do take big damage from Scald. So Gigalith takes super effective damage, Arcanine takes super effective damage, Garchomp does not want to be hit with Scald to get a burn. So Politoed is just sitting pretty here. We've got to see if Celesteela has a way to deal with it, because it does carry Seed Bomb. Some Celesteela do run Seed Bomb. It also has access to Leech Seed to be able to stall out Tobias' team, but Salamence has not taken any special attack drops. If the rain ends soon, it can get a big super effective Flamethrower onto the Celesteela. So there's a lot of really great positioning that Tobias can do with his team, and he hasn't revealed too much.
No, he hasn't, and it's potentially a reason for Miguel to not bring Gigalith back just yet, because he actually wants the rain to stay up to protect his Celesteela a little bit.
Yeah, so
Holotoad switching out, and what's going to come back in? It is Magnezone. As we said, Magnezone with its Magnet Pull ability is here for the Celesteela matchup. Celesteela now cannot switch out, so when the rain does run out, it is going to be trapped there and will fall mercy to a potential fire attack.
such a clever play from Tobias there, switching in the Magnezone, so Celesteela will be trapped now, and getting rid of Arcanine, who threatens Magnezone with super effective fire-type damage. So the rain will end, and Magnezone will keep Celesteela trapped in, and it's got to contend with the fire-type attacks of Salamence.
It's at least got the Leech Seed up on Magnezone, which it'll keep it around a little bit longer. Celesteela, as we know, likes to hang around. But I believe, is Rain going to run out this turn, or do we have one more turn of it?
I believe we still got one more turn left. I think this is turn 4, but we will see very, very shortly as Garchomp is going to come in. It is at full health, so that's a nice boon for Tobias. Yeah, we do have one more turn. So Salamence now will probably want to switch out. So you could bring in Tapu Bulu here because it doesn't take too much damage from Garchomp, but you have to worry about a heavy slam from Celesteela. You can imagine it will want to launch an attack into that slot. If in the rain with a -2 special attack, Flamethrower will not be doing as much damage as he hopes. But we're going to see a Protect coming out from Salamence here, so a smart play. We're going to see a Thunderbolt coming out from... oh no, double Protect here, so just to sort out and see if what Garchomp wants to do.
Yeah, the Protect makes a lot of sense on Salamence. It either had to Protect or switch out. It wasn't going to be able to do anything to Celesteela, and if it wasn't faster than Garchomp, Garchomp would do heavy damage back, so the Salamence had to either switch out or Protect there.
That's true, that is true. So we see the double Protect coming out here. We've got a little bit of HP recovery from Magnezone. Both of Tobias's Pokemon do want to be able to do big damage to Celesteela. Garchomp is a nice partner because obviously it threatens big damage onto Salamence, it threatens big damage onto Magnezone with Earthquake, and that is why we saw the Earthquake coming out from Garchomp there, because it wants to get rid of that Magnezone, which is trapping in its Celesteela. Obviously, the grassy terrain is now out of effect. We have Leech Seed set up by Celesteela, so it's in a position that it wants to be in. Salamence didn't do too much damage to it before, but now the rain has ended.
Yes, and that is key because now Celesteela is vulnerable to fire-type moves.
So, are we imagining that we'll see a Holotoad switch in here? I mean, you imagine so. Oh no, we see the
Tapu Bulu.
So if we see an Earthquake, grassy terrain will weaken the amount of damage there. But if Miguel is lucky, he could have read that and gone for a heavy slam onto that slot.
They actually went for the Earthquake, which is going to do a little bit of damage to Tapu Bulu.
Yeah, not do significant amount of damage because of the reduction from grassy terrain. But we have to see if we've gone for the heavy slam here. The Draco Meteor coming out from Salamence onto that Garchomp slot, understanding that is the threat to his Magnezone there. So we're going to do just over 2/3 damage there. So the special attack drop coming quite badly. Here's the heavy slam. Is it going to be onto? It's on the Salamence slot, so he could have picked up a cheeky knockout onto that Tapu Bulu there, but still a good amount of damage onto the Salamence. And now Salamence is in range for any sort of attack that Garchomp wants to launch.
Yeah, definitely. That was an important heavy slam. I think if it would have been nice, I would have liked to see it on Tapu Bulu, but it probably was safer going on to Salamence.
Yep. So we have Celesteela obviously has no more Leech Seed recovery. It's got the it's not grounded, so it doesn't get the grassy terrain recovery. So that's a good thing for Miguel. And with just his Gigalith in the back, he needs to find a way to really get rid of the major threats on Tobias' side of the field. So Salamence is not doing too much now. It's going to retreat actually from the field. Are we going to see the Magnezone coming in? Yes, we are.
Yes, we're going to see Magnezone coming back in, making sure that Celesteela stays put. We've got Protect coming from Tapu Bulu, maybe trying to avoid the potential poison jab coming in, but what we actually see is...
Is that a Fire Fang? Yes, there is. That's a Fire Fang. Wow, Fire Fang coming out from Garchomp there. It looks like Garchomp could actually be... there is no Protect here, so it looks like it could be running Assault Vest. It's quite bulky. But we actually see the recovery here, so we see a Leech Seed coming out as well onto the Magnezone slot. So Celesteela is enjoying itself, as it always does.
As it does. It sits there, and it sits there, and it's still sitting there.
Yeah, it does that. But we've got Tapu Bulu now, who hasn't taken a burn. It's still got its Lumberry intact. It can do some big damage against anything in that Garchomp slot. So if Gigalith comes in, it does big damage. If it does big damage to Garchomp as well. And Magnezone is trapping in Celesteela now. So the pairing of Tapu Bulu and Magnezone is really nice because it reduces Earthquake damage. So if Magnezone protects this turn, then any Earthquakes going into that slot do not take too much damage. The Fire Fang was an interesting choice on Garchomp as well for additional damage, but we're actually just going to see it switch.
Yeah, which is going to get the Celesteela, of course, wouldn't be able to switch out that turn anyway because the Magnezone had been in play. The switch means it gets the Intimidate off on the Garchomp. And we'll see what the Garchomp was trying to do. It was going to bring in another Earthquake, which again is going to do tiny, tiny damage to Tapu Bulu.
Very, very clever switch for the Salamence there, getting the Intimidate reduction. Look how little damage that does to Tapu Bulu. So a really, really nice core of Magnezone, Tapu Bulu and Salamence there to be able to reduce the damage. And Horn Leech going to do some serious damage to Garchomp, get the HP of Tapu Bulu all the way back up. And it's not looking too good for Miguel's side of the field.
It was not. Oh! There's the Heavy Slam, which is going to do a fair chunk, not quite half damage. Any Grass attack was fairly safe into the Garchomp slot there. We know the Garchomp doesn't have Protect, and even if it had switched out to Gigalith, obviously the Horn Leech or the potential Wood Hammer would have done decent damage there. So it made sense to just use a Grass attack on that slot.
So yeah, this is the Magnezone is not in anymore, so Celesteela could choose to leave the field if it wants to, or it could protect itself to avoid taking any more damage. We have seen the Z move already from Salamence, so we could see a Draco Meteor going into that Garchomp slot. But Celesteela isn't doing too much. Tapu Bulu can take another Heavy Slam, so we're going to have to see how Tobias wants to play this. A Poison Jab. Oh no, so we're going to see Tapu Bulu. Is it going to go down? It is.
It is.
So 4 times super effective. Tapu Bulu not being able to pick up the knockouts. Oh, there we see the Draco Meteor. Is it going to land onto that Garchomp? So Garchomp has left the field. Gigalith is heavily damaged. Celesteela is not doing too much. Politoed can come in, get rid of Gigalith, and we can switch. Actually, no, he can bring in Magnezone, sorry. Gigalith will go down to a Flash Cannon. And then Politoed is in, Salamence can switch out, reduce the damage reduction, and Flamethrower can take out Celesteela.
Well, the Salamence is going down to a Heavy Slam here, Jay.
Whoa, so that would have been amazing, but we've got the Beast Boost now, and that was its Special Defense.
Special Defense.
So now we're going to have a position where we've got Gigalith and Celesteela on the field for Miguel, and Tobias is going to have Politoed and Magnezone. So Magnezone does super effective damage to the Celesteela, so that's lucky, and it also resists the Heavy Slam as well. So the weather will actually be, it should be Sandstorm.
It'll be sand, yeah. Because
of Gigalith being on the field. And so with Politoed being able to launch a super effective Scald onto Gigalith, won't take any, there shouldn't be any Earthquake damage this turn, and Magnezone should be free to get some Thunderbolt damage onto Celesteela.
Yeah, and even though we have seen, like, it is quite a bulky Gigalith, even specially, which Gigalith isn't. It's a little bit specially bulky. It's not too much, but it's still not going to want to take this. Even with the Sand Up, it doesn't really want to take any water attacks from Politoed right now, or indeed the Flash Cannon from Magnezone.
No, we don't. So the Beast Boost gives a little bit of information for Tobias and for us at home, noting that Celesteela's special defense is its highest stat. Well, we're actually going to see the Perish Song there. So the Perish Song, yeah. Oh, sorry, the Encore. Sorry, yeah. So it's actually going to be locked into Heavy Slam. We're going to see the Flash Cannon go knock out Gigalith there, and we're in a it was just a really good position for Tobias. He's managed to wake it down, and we're going to see the Heavy Slam coming out from Celesteela. Is it going to target onto the Politoed slot? How much? Not much damage at all. So the resistance is there for his Politoed and his Magnezone, really working out in his favour, and the matchup looked like it was always in Tobias' favour.
It did, yeah, and I think at this point we saw the hands from Miguel, we saw his headset come off. I think Tobias is in such a strong position here. Yeah,
so obviously we saw the special defense boost coming out from Celesteela's Beast Boost, but we do have Thunder Bolt from Magnezone, which could do massive damage. We've also got the potential to burn from Skull to wear down Celesteela even more. So we're actually just going to see the forfeit here. So that's Tobias Koschitzki. He is now 3-0 in the European International Championships, and look how much that means to him.
That's a good place to be.
So we have Tobias Koschitzki, who performed really well at one of the early mid-season showdowns in Germany, winning that tournament. Now going from strength to strength, he's making his way slowly through the Swiss rounds. It's still early days, but a nice position to be in for him, and commiserations to Miguel. A really strong performance from him. The matchup wasn't in his favour. There was a lot of damage that Tobias could do on his side of the field, but just really well played from both competitors.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Tobias made some absolutely brilliant predictions, very important terms, especially in his switching. I thought there was some very impressive use of the switching facility. Often double battling is not as much of a switchy format as single battling is, but that was a good example of how you can utilize the abilities of your Pokemon and for instance, the intimidate, the terrains, the weathers. All of these things can be utilized to your advantage, which means that switching is still something very important to consider.
Well, this is one of the things that VGC 16 has kind of taught us is that format was not particularly switch heavy because you relied, unless you were playing dual primals. Dual primals is a very switch maneuver based team structure because you want to get the weather in your favor. You have the option to put the weather in your favor a lot. Whereas you just have a lot of large spread damage attacks with Groudon, Kyogre, and Xerneas. So you most likely just stick with those ones. But now back in VGC 17, we've got so many resistances. Resistances matter now. For the most part, there's no gigantic attacks that will just bust through resistances. So having the defensive switching that Tobias had, and having that core of Magnezone, Salamence, and Tapu Bulu to reduce earthquake damage, reduce the